Welcome to the Michigan Travel Show, a kaleidoscope of stories about the people, places, and events that shape our great state.
Hello everyone, Gary Morgan here with Michigan Travel. Well, I'm all the way to the ocean here, the Pacific. Well, where Lewis and Clark made their fort here once they made it all the way to the Pacific Northwest, and they called it Fort Clatsop. And this is the National Historical Site, how they made it across America and got all the way to here, all the way to the Pacific. The Columbia Gorge and Pacific Ocean are right here, and they got this beautiful visitor center, which I'm going to go into and get a little history. So here is a plaque. They had the winter at Fort Clatsop. Here at the end of their westward journey, the 33 members of the Corps Discovery spent 4 rainy months preparing for their return to St. Louis, Missouri. The men built huts to protect themselves and supplies, and even at Fort Clatsop, after local Clatsop Indians, I was wondering why they called that, nothing remained the original fort. It was rebuilt in 2006, and like I said, they stayed here for a few months to regroup and do their thing. And then, you know, it looks nicer. Back then it was rustic. This picture of North America here, how North America was split between many different countries, had stakes and claims, and of course after the Revolution, the U.S. got everything to the Mississippi, and then they bought the Louisiana Purchase, won the war against the Spanish, and of course with Russia, they bought Alaska just north of here. Cool picture here with Thomas Jefferson, the long desired object to get westward expansion. They got the Louisiana Purchase and got these two great explorers, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, filling the blanks of the maps out west. The journey of discovery starting in St. Louis, May 14th, 1804, finishing 2 years later in September 1806. And this is where it all started from. Like I said, St. Louis, all the way across North America. And remember, they did this all by foot, horseback, couple-year trail. And there we are, right there, Fort Clatsop. Yep, pretty cool. That's awesome. Yep. There it all is. Yep. All the things they discovered and saw along the route. 2 years on the road across America. Phenomenal statue. The Indians, Lewis and Clark, signing some treaties. Pretty cool. That is awesome, and what it all is about right there. Okay, here is a replica of a canoe they took across a lot of the lakes and rivers along the way. Not much of a boat, considering what they had to do. They fished off it, you name it. To do that, it's pretty amazing in a boat like that. A hope for future gain from the fur trade. The beaver right there, lots of beaver trading back in its day. Necessary preparations for discovery, ropes, bags, tins, you name it. Filling the blanks on the map out west. The lower Missouri been mapped only casually, but they mapped it and made, you know, America was all about after that. These are some of the animals out here. The baby eagle, a bunch of the birds, their furs. Ducks, lots of ducks here. Mosquitoes. Oh, here is a beaver pelt right there. Look how long they were back then. The Whopper beaver pelt. Prized possessions back then. They are unbelievable how big they were. All the birds. They wrote journals, everything they did every single day. Like I said, it changed America forever. Here's all the tools they used. We have lived as well as we have any right to expect. Like I said, axes, you know, you name it. Violin for music. Their guns they used. Right here. all the different guns they used, swords, some of their outfits. It was a crazy expedition, but changed America forever. I said this canoe they used out that way. The Indians gave them to them out here. Pretty cool. Some of the furs. That's what. Just a picture of what it kind of looked. A quest of the whale that came beached in Guinea, by any no means common. Native peoples of the Lower Columbia. The Indians had some great things to keep themselves alive out here. Around cedar, salmon, and berries. These items were traded with upriver, who called the Clatsop the dried salmon people. They dried out their salmon all the time to eat it, like beef jerky. Became dry. Right there. Even when they traded items, pretty cool. And they were given Medal of Honors when they came back to Washington. Pretty cool. They got back in September 23rd, 1806, surprised many. After nearly 2.5 years, the men were thought to be lost in them. Here at the 5 early 19th century comments on the safe arrival. Pretty cool. Mary Leavenworth and William Clark, the captain afterwards. They were given 320 acres and a double pay to all. Pretty cool. What's interesting, Lewis and Clark were not the first ones here at the mouth of the Columbia River. It was first found by an American in 1792 by Robert Gray and claimed for the United States. The British captains George Vancouver and James Cook also made claims in the region. So they were not the first ones here. Like I said, Captain Robert Gray in the merchant ship called Columbia Redivia out of Boston discovered the mouth of the Columbia in 1792. So Lewis and Clark discovered all the land in between, but here at the Columbia River and along the coast, it was by Captain Robert Gray in 1792, just after the Revolution had ended 9 years earlier. Here's all the badges you can collect being a junior ranger, and so at all the different parks. So pretty cool. Yes, this is pretty cool. This is a few more description of things that happened journeying home. Now the mission was only half complete. They had to go all the way back, and they had to return all the maps and everything. So going back, it was amazing they made it back, and how they all did it in Missoula and Great Falls and down the Yellowstone River. But they made it all the way back to St. Louis in September 23rd, 1806. So pretty cool. They came back a little quicker than they went out. And Clatsop people were always familiar because there's people from the Far East. Even, like I said, an American got here in 1792. And they're right here on the coast. And when he first got Captain Clark in 1805, was invited to a lodge by a young chief due to great politeness and new mats to sit on. So that was pretty cool through the eyes of William Clark, captain of the expedition. Yep, the Clatsop made great canoes, and if not for the rain, it would did not rain. 6 of the days were clear, but they did on rainy days, a lot of writing, getting ready for the next expedition, selecting a winter campsite. Struggling the Pacific out here. It's very chilly and wet in the winter. Dismal niche. We talked about that in the movie there. Lots of stuff happened here for 4 months while they were here, venturing into the West. The object of the mission is to explore the Missouri and such principal course, in communicating the waters of the Pacific, whether Columbia, Oregon, or Colorado, or any other river, offer the most and practical water community across this continent for the purpose of commerce. President Jefferson instruction to Captain Lewis in 1803. Folks, this completes my little journey here to the Lewis and Clark Historical National Park and Fort Clatsop. It was named after the Indians who lived here, or the natives, and that was their native, what they were called, the Clatsop Indians, and so it's kind of cool. But a complete history of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and this is where they landed and stayed for a few months before they headed back. They have over there about how they headed back. It was pretty cool. I didn't have a lot of time here, but the trees here and everything. I watched a couple movies on it, and really a cool place. It was well worth the 200-mile drive from Eugene up here. But and like I said, Nuttall Landing. Nuttall is the Clatsop name for this river. So we're going to walk over here, and we're going to check out this beautiful river spot where Lewis and Clark landed in 1805. Pretty cool. It's an adventurous time exploring the world, not just for them, but there's a lot of other explorers around the world in the early 1800s mapping out the earth. And it's definitely an exciting time for these people. So this is where they landed, right here. And of course, I'm sure this has been filled in a little bit. I'm sure it was a little more marshy. Yeah, what you see now, what it was 200 years ago, are probably two totally different things. But here it is. They've got a couple of, looks like they had a couple of piers out there. Somebody's got their kayak canoe right here. And there it is. And it went down the way there. They had a bunch of piers down here. And they probably used this for a variety of things over the years. Industry, probably had a variety of boats here before the Park Service bought this, and there's probably some private stuff where they had marinas and some other stuff, and because this leads right out to the Columbia River, so to protect the boats, they had them out here. But anyway, this is where it all started, the Lewis and Clark expedition when they got here. Well, I'm in the town of Astoria, overlooking the Columbia River opening to the Pacific. You see a few other spots there, and then there's water that goes for thousands of miles all the way to Asia. But anyway, yeah, this is the Columbia River opening here. This is pretty cool here. And wow, that thing is a work of art. They have a mural all the way down of it, the Great River. And that is pretty cool. But Lewis and Clark, Fort Clatsop, the whole area out here of what's happened out here, right in the Pacific Northwest at Oregon, meeting the mouth of the Columbia River, and beyond it goes the gorge. But this is just a phenomenal view up here. I'm up on top of the column here. This thing's probably about 150 feet tall. The view up here is spectacular, and sun shining off the water there onto the bridge there, going across part of the Columbia River. They've got another 2 or 3 rivers roll in out here, so they got another. I went over that bridge right there coming over here, and you see lots of farmland, another bridge over there. And this place spectacular. There is a couple of ocean-going freighters right there, just sitting there waiting to see what happens. They got a nightly Princess Cruise boat down there, a paddle boat that they're probably getting ready to take off on for a night cruise. I see they do drop a few things. See a crane there. But this is the town of Astoria, right here on the mouth of the Columbia River. Okay, well, this is a great map right here in front of us. We are right there in the center, and we're looking at that bridge there. And of course, looking out is, like I said, goes out to the Pacific. There is Fort Stevens State Park on the Washington side, so you can get right next to the where the water goes out. And the other side is Fort Canby State Park, and on the Washington side. But like I said, on the other side is Washington, and this is Oregon. Pretty cool. Okay, well, I'm down here on the right on the river here at Astoria, and they have the Columbia River Maritime Museum. That looks pretty cool. They got a trolley that comes along here, so that's kind of cool. I mean, this is a cool little city here. Over the side it says Astoria, an official Coast Guard city. Yeah, I'd believe that. You got to take care of a lot of boats coming up and down through the Columbia River here. Here is a propeller from one of these big whopper ships. You know, I don't know exactly which one. Over there is a anchor, and there's a parkland, a couple buoys. Pretty cool. And right along the river here, Navy objects on the plaza, the large anchors from the Navy from the Museum 64, 25,000 used on a carrier or battleship, and 2 remain from the original 4. And the propeller is from a Carls F class guided missile destroyer. See below left, right there, there's an anchor from, like I said, a aircraft carrier, and was deemed surplus and donated the museum to. The propeller is 13.4 feet in diameter and weighs over 19,000 pounds. That's what it takes to move those big Navy ships or any large ship. They have a party boat here. It's called the American Pride. It's a paddle boat, I can see it. And here's one of the Coast Guard ships here. They use it for something. I'm not sure it's the Coast Guards. They have another boat over here. I don't know who owns that. But anyway, probably the Coast Guard. They could own both of these. This might be a museum. This is a museum over here. This is called the Columbia. It's a museum. Like I said, that there is like a party boat, and or river boat that gives you rooms. It could be goes up and down the river here. And here's some piers where they used to have some buildings, but no longer here. And now we're going to get a bird's eye view of the bridge here. It is raised in that one spot to let ships go underneath it, but then flattens out so it doesn't have to be as high because no ships have to go underneath it. But here we are right on the mighty Columbia. Wowee, this is pretty cool. Got a buoy here, and let's walk out to the pier here. Well, so sounds like they keep this boat running. So this is a working Coast Guard ship, and they're ready to take it out at any moment. I got some Coast Guard guys in there taking care of it and ready to go to work at any moment. I hear the engines running on it, so they take it up and down the river here to do work. So there it is, the David Duran, a U.S. Coast Guard ship. And then there's a couple ships sitting out in the out here, just docked out here in the Columbia River, and we can go around here and see the beautiful sunset with the ship on the side here. That is pretty cool. Wowee, just spectacular. And there is the column, the tower up on top up there. And this is a full Monty show here, to say the least. Pretty cool. That looks like a riverboat that houses passengers, like a cruise ship. Pretty cool. But yeah, beautiful evening here. I heard rain is coming tomorrow. There's a beautiful sunset without the boat in the way. Sun setting out in the west. over the Pacific. There is this monument here. The Astoria Regatta started in 1894. The time-honored family tradition is one of the oldest festivals in Oregon's oldest city. And the Astoria Regatta Festival is designed as a historic culture tradition by the Oregon State Historic Commission, celebrating Astoria's maritime history. Thanks to sponsors listed, this monument possible, celebrating 125 years, 1894 to 2019. There it is. Pretty cool. Well, you never know what you're going to walk right into. The boat is very historic and interesting. It is a lightship Columbia. It is a roving lightship, or like you're having all the in Michigan, all these other lighthouses. So it's a moving lighthouse, and they took it out of service in '79, built in 1950. But anyway, there it is. You can see all the lights on top of it. But yeah, it was a moving lighthouse in its day, and now it's a museum. Well, that's cool. Speaking people. And anyway, we're going to go through the visitor center. We're going to go outside and see the original fort. And so that the black pioneers, the slavery exclusion, defied discrimination. So anyway, we're going to go outside and take a look at the fort. This place is gonna close up. I gotta watch the movie, and they said the old fort is 100 yards away. Here are the whopper trees. They aren't the super big ones, but God, these go up 150, 200 feet straight up. Well, this is what's exciting about being in the Pacific Northwest, and no matter who you were, Indians, white people, anybody, you had to bundle up in the rain and the crazy weather out here, like everywhere. And so anyway, we are going to just do a quick walk here. Look at one of those big whopper logs, and this is called Nanchili. Look at the land. We're just going down this little pathway here, and then we'll be going back inside. But like I said, I just drove a couple hundred miles from Eugene up here to this Fort Clatsop, which is, like I said, the Lewis and Clark National Historical Site, and by Seaside Village, which is where I did the Hood to Coast one time, and this is where we finished out by the beach. But this is part of the park here that I did not see before, and awesome path right here. So there it is, a replica of the original fort right there. Pretty cool. Right there it is. So we'll go in through it real quick. Like a bunch of people are becoming some junior rangers and answering all the questions.
Stand here by the door.
There it is. That's what forts were back then, a couple hundred years ago. They got through here about 1806 is when it was a 2-year expedition. I think they started in 1804 and finished in 1806. So just a little over 200 years. The usual fort, bunks, all that other good stuff. Flagpole. Kind of cool. Like I said, this is a replica. This is not the original. And back there where they cooked all their food back there. But yeah, this awesome forest here. This is pretty cool. They told me to see this before I see a few things inside, and then I'm going to watch the movie. The movies are the best at the Park Service. They give you a complete, quick history of that park and the surrounding area. So they told me that starts at 5 o'clock, and it's currently about 1:45.